know sales is important, but what's more important is the customer experience. We have a recap with Charles Areni, Rob Dell, and Pamela Bishop on what they've said about the customer journey and what needs to change.
The ability of a salesperson to do more listening has certainly come to the fore. Really listen to what the customer's saying, and not just find their first little in and away you go with the sales spiel, but ask continual questions to really uncover the reasons behind that. And that is good questioning technique, and equally as good listening technique.
Well, if you think of the way, let's start with the buyer, because I think there are a lot of changes that have taken place over the last 30 years that have really dramatically changed the nature of the interaction between a buyer and seller that now favor the buyer. So for a very long time, economists talked about asymmetry of information. That when we work for an organization that makes something or provides something in the marketplace, you're an expert. You know everything that you do. It's very specialized. Whatever company that you work for, they produce a specific good or a specific set of services. As buyers, we want to buy everything. We consume an enormous range of goods and services every day, thousands. I mean, if you woke up and said, all right, how many products am I going to use today? You'd run into thousands. The moment you get up, you got to turn off your alarm up. That's your phone, plus the app that went on the phone. Somebody had to make that. And then you're consuming your pillow, right? Enormous range of products. And so for a very long time, sellers had far more knowledge about what they were selling, what it was worth, what it could do, how it was made, than the buyer. If you want to consume all that diversity and all that assortment of goods and services, you don't have time to become an expert on any one of them. You just don't. So the asymmetry of information still does favor the seller, because when you produce something, you're specialized. But in the advent of the internet, social media, social networking, the ability to find information via search algorithms like Google, has made it easier for buyers to get information. And that's information it levels the playing field a little bit, not entirely, but a little bit. So as a salesperson coming in, you have to assume that the buyer may have a little bit more knowledge. And even if they don't, they may think they do. I'll give you an example of that. By the way, we haven't talked about the role of sales in medicine and healthcare. You don't think doctors are sales? You know, we know the pharmaceutical companies are sales. We get that, but the doctors themselves are playing a role. But something as simple as somebody doing a series of Google searches on a condition that they think they have, they're going to go in to that interaction thinking they have expertise, whether they do or not. So I think it instead of the salesperson coming in with the idea that I know everything about my company's products and I'm up here in knowledge and the buyer knows very little, you have to kind of take a step back and say, this buyer may think that he or she knows something, and so I've got to sort of acknowledge that there's a lot of information out there in cyberspace, and have to maybe be a little bit more respectful of what the buyer may already know. The asymmetry still favors the seller over the buyer. But in the last 30 years or so, starting with the internet, maybe that asymmetry has been eliminated a little bit.
I think what typically tends to happen when you look at sales is you find some people are in sales jobs, but then there are real professional salespeople as well. And to be a successful professional salesperson, you need to have a lot of skills and knowledge. I think that businesses should really be investing in the professional development of their salespeople so that they're set up for success. Unfortunately, I think too often, someone is recruited into a sales role and they may not have been given that opportunity for training and development, and it's just not fair. It doesn't set them up for success. So it's really important that businesses are investing that way, and I think salespeople need to have a really good understanding of what the customer actually wants. And when it comes to sales, there's so many skills that can be taught, like exceptional customer service, relationship building, listening is such an important one, consulting, and just really trying to understand what the customer actually needs. They're all skills that can be taught, and I think they should be. I don't think they always are. So I feel there is a bit of a gap there, particularly when it comes to really understanding what that customer actually wants and needs. And moving forward, I just think that's going to become more and more important because I think the customer is going to demand it.